We are free! And who is this? Can it be that a frail mortal human faced and bested our own scheming Boreas? Ah, but this is no mortal, I see. Strange you'd take the guise of a source hunter. But I shall of course honor your chosen form. Indeed, I suppose I should have expected that one of your kind would snare our brother sooner or later. Boreas always did dance uncomfortably close to the dark arts. But I suppose the others of we elemental monarchs thought it better not to interfere in the affairs of his realm. No, like fools, we waited for his pride. His hunger for more and ever more power to pull us from our own seats of safety and into his sordid storm. We, and with us all the subjects of the realm of Fairy, do owe you our lives, Source Hunter. If, no, not if, but when, we might be of assistance to you in this dimension, you must call upon me personally. I am King Sewer of the Summit Kingdom of Calvia, brother, alongside the other elemental monarchs, to the unfortunate and insane Boreas. In earlier days, we ruled the four realms of Fairy in relative peace, each of us the master of our own kingdom. But something changed in Boreas. He grew darker somehow. More than was typical of his usual melancholy. We worried, yes, but chose not to intervene. Boreas was the Lord of Hyperheim, and it was his right to rule it as he pleased. When our brother called the elemental seats to convene in Hyperheim, we were ecstatic. Boreas seemed again interested in the joint rule of Fairy, in upholding the long-established diplomacy of our lands. When we arrived, however, it was not Boreas who greeted us, but a dark figure. A woman with a stare like blackest fire. In her staff she held a demonic power, the likes of which I've never felt. And as we were sucked into its depths, we thought we'd never see the light of Fairy again. I listened closely when I could to Maria's doings. From what I could tell, it seems this woman had little contact with our deranged brother after the initial exchange of the staff. From what I could tell, the arrangement was thus. She gave him us, contained, and in return he gave her access to his great star stone, and scores of imps he'd invited to Hyperheim. After that, the two parted, and I heard little more of the woman. In his fits of madness, Marius would sometimes bellow abuse about the demon woman. I can only assume he meant the same who trapped us.
It's a good thing you arrived when you did, Source Hunter. Another moment or so and the devastating cyclone within me would have burst. Imagine if you'd made it all the way here, only to find we three free, and Boreas trundling in an eternal whirlwind. It reminds me of my days training in the Air Academy. It was lonely at the top of the class, but I refused then, as I do now, to downplay my tremendous abilities. Yes, I do believe it all started when we were all of us Rugrats, fresh emerged from the eternal season. Oh, yes, of course. Why, I am Queen Sinister, ruler of the spring realm of Vanivia. Ah, Vanivia, fairest of fairy, the seat of gentle zephyrs and sprouted seedlings. And I, its eternal queen, do rule with such a fair and gentle hand that my will spreads, impossible to distinguish from that of spring itself. I suppose some small thanks are in order, yes. Yes, I suppose I do thank you for your interference in this affair. I am released and ready to return to Vanivia a moment or two sooner than I would have been by my own hand, and every tick of the clock counts, I do suppose.
A little legroom out front, a little wiggle room in the back. Wonderful to greet the wide open world again. Can you imagine a worse fate than being locked up with your blazing hawk head of a brother and wailing windbag of a sister for the rest of time? I thank you from my bedrock for sparing me such a fate. Well, are these chiseled good looks not legendary by now? I'm King Lurian of the Autumn Realms of Lapatera, and I suppose you've made the acquaintance of Master Molten and Lady Cyclone by now. Our wee motley crew sprang from the same source as equestrian for the eternal season. But I do suppose we made a fairly good run of it anyway. Poor old Boreas. He always did get the short end of the stick with his winter wasteland, while the rest of us enjoyed the plenty of the fairer seasons. Nevertheless, I never thought you'd grown mad enough to resort to such devilry. Well, we elemental monarchs owe you a great debt, Source Hunter. If you ever journey to the Autumn Kingdom, you'll stay as my personal guest. Your goblet will overflow with harvest mead, and the Queen will faint when she hears how you overcame the Winter King.
Our champion has returned. Have you yet I am king, but something when we arrived, she gave Source Hunter. It would be my sincerest honor. Take this rune and use it to summon me when you're near the witch once more. If she can be extracted from Boreas ice, I'll find a way to make it so.
We best be on our way then. The spring and autumn kingdoms won't rule themselves, you know. May our paths cross soon, Source Hunter.
What can I do for you? Good. No.
Our champion has returned. Indeed, Source Hunter.
It never rains, but it pours, eh?
Getting too cold to concentrate.
Careful, I've spotted a trap.
There is magic to this place, isn't there? No matter how forlorn it seems.
There is magic, but it is not so much forlorn as it is dormant. I trust the Source Hunters and their star stones will stir it from its slumber.
I'm confident they will. They must. The alternative is unthinkable.
I have seen the void, and it haunts me. Follows my vision like confused spots after staring in the sun.
We are haunted by the same vision, my friend. The end of all visions. But only in the dark can light be born. Let us cling to that and hope.
Damnation! Not even a crack!
There she is! The White Witch! A prisoner in ice.
I wonder what sorcery,
I don't know how long she'll
or
last within that
worse,
ice.
sorcery
There must be a
we'll
way.
have to use to get her out.
I don't know how long she'll last within that ice. There must be a way.
This is your White Witch, then? And you're sure you want to free her, are you? Even our mad Boreas wouldn't have wasted such precious ice on a petty criminal. Whatever she did to find herself here must have been rather severe indeed. But I am in your debt, and I would be remiss not to honor your request. Shield your eyes, Source Hunter. To melt ice of this refinement, I'll need to summon an equally rare flame.
Gods, it's colder than a witch's teat. How very callous of Leandra to inter her only sister in a barren tundra for eternity.
Ikara, you're all right? The ice, King Boreas, and your sister. What a...
And yet not even a frigid hell like this could induce you to put on a shirt, could it, Ahu? My old friend, surely I have you to thank for my salvation.
That honor goes to a pair of talented source hunters, actually. If not for their efforts, I'd be quite uselessly prowling around your prison still.
Then perhaps I ought to address my savior directly. Source Hunter, is that the masquerade? Well, what a motley crew we are. Isn't there somewhere a bit warmer we might discuss matters? Ah, yes, of course, of course. Do pardon me. I didn't mean to imply you were very clearly eternal beings in the guise of minor mortals. Not at all. Please, let's do carry on. Oh, yes, I suppose I am. But I do prefer my given name. Ikara, that is. Charmed. But I hope I haven't disappointed my own hero. Am I just as white and witchy as you'd hoped? First things first, Source Hunter. For my freedom, I owe you every imaginable thanks. My soul had withered in this prison, and I might not have survived much longer without your help. Now, about the culprits. My corrupted sister and the mad Winter King. When I realized exactly where, and to whom Leandra was consigning me, I was certain I'd never enjoy the sun's warmth again. But neither she nor I anticipated the Source Hunter. That was her mistake, and my blessing. I never would have imagined Leandra capable of dealing with the likes of Boreas, but she has changed into someone I hardly recognize anymore. My own little sister, if you can imagine it. She was always the more ambitious, the more exacting of us, and she had no fear of the darkness that so often accompanies Source. Her collusion with King Boreas in imprisoning me here confirms my worst fears. She is planning something far greater than I could have anticipated. For this reason, and with a heavy heart, I must ask you, Source Hunter, to find out how far exactly Leandra has become entwined in the dark arts. I take no pleasure in the memory of that night. The thought of hurting anyone or anything is abhorrent to me. But in this case, I judged it necessary. If you've come this far, I trust you've learned that the Counselor was far from a humble civil servant. This doesn't excuse my behavior, but perhaps it can help to explain it. It's a sordid story, to be perfectly frank. Two sisters, a philanderous, treacherous wizard, death and mayhem. Are you sure you're interested in such things? The sparkle in your eye belies your better nature, Source Hunter. Now I know that it is your duty to get to the heart of this. And, in truth, the events of that night were but one part of a larger and much darker matter. A matter in which I'll dare to beg your assistance before we're through with one another. Now, that terrible night. One night, as I slept, I had a sudden revelation. No dream, but a vision. My sister Leandra and my lover Zandalor. I didn't understand, but I recognized their location. Syceel's King Crab Inn. I arrived and looked through their window, but inside, everything was wrong. Leandra had fled, and Councillor Jake stood over the wizard, a knife in his hand and hate in his eyes. As I watched, he drove the dagger deep into Zandalor's heart, and I was too late to stop him. In that moment, I broke. I saw before me not a man, not even a beast, but evil incarnate. And I used Source to slay him. On the floor lay Zandalor. In my hands, I held Jake's life force. I had sworn never to use Source, but I couldn't walk away. And so I did the unthinkable. I used the Councillor's life to save Zandalor's. He was alive, but only just. Betrayal. Murder. Source. We were all of us guilty now. If you were any other Source Hunter, I suppose you'd strike me down where I stand after that terrible admission. Fortunately for us both, you are no other Source Hunter. I hate to extend my own invitation, Source Hunter, but I believe I ought to accompany you to Zigzax's hideout. Presumptuous, yes, but I'd recognize the imp's essence just about anywhere. Both he and you must learn more about the darkness that has extended itself into our dearest Rivellon. And I believe I know where we must begin. But unless that's a bear flailing through the threads of time, I do believe Master Zigzax is on his way. Make way, Source Hunter, landing in 3, 2...
Hunters, you've done it! Ikara is free! Ah, what good it does my impish heart to see her safe and bright as ever! We have much to discuss. Come one and all to the end of time. A spot of something warm and the soft glow of the tapestry ought to do us all a bit of good, Ikara, now, if we're done playing hide-and-seek, let's not waste a jot more time. Oh, I just can't wait to pick your every synapse.
After you, Master Zigzax.
So that's the White Witch, eh? I expected someone a little more evil. I can't say I'd cut her down from a stake. She sure has fewer horns than I expected.
Here is a woman clearly deserving of respect, Medora. Please, for once, let not your source-addled presumptions cloud your judgment.
We've solved the murder and caught the culprit, yet this case feels anything but closed. Who was she to rank the life of the wizard over that of Jake? This is a cut-and-dry case of murder, I say.
What if they're not coming back for us? What if the conduit doesn't...
You're free to...
Leave behind an... Oh, it's you. Careful around...
What if they're not coming back for us? What if the conduit doesn't care?
Don't be daft. She wouldn't leave behind an immaculate.
All we do is sacrifice. What if we're sacrificed too? Curse this constant snow! There must be some kind of way out of here!
If there is, I'm right behind you.
But for now, all we can do is wait and kill every elemental that comes close.
Chill to my bones.
What if they're not coming back for us? What if the conduit doesn't care?
Don't be daft. She wouldn't leave behind an immaculate.
All we do is sacrifice. What if we're sacrificed too? Curse this constant snow! There must be some kind of way out of here!
If there is, I'm right behind you.
But for now, all we can do is wait and kill every elemental that comes close. What if they're not coming back for us? What if the conduit doesn't care?
Don't be daft. She wouldn't leave behind an immaculate.
All we do is sacrifice. What if we're sacrificed too? Curse this constant snow! There must be some kind of way out of here!
If there is, I'm right behind you.
But for now, all we can do is wait and kill every elemental that comes close. What if they're not coming back for us? What if the conduit doesn't care?
Don't be daft. She wouldn't leave behind an immaculate.
All we do is sacrifice. What if we're sacrificed too?
Mr. Shatterer. Hyzir is in your debt for his freedom. I am beholden to you. I wonder how you got here. A common human in the land of Fairy, upon the snowy soil of Hyberheim. You ho ho ho, to hear the howls of my ravaged honeys, to see them strewn about all inside out, and me standing over them, thinking, what a farce. I've got a pig and bucket its blood to make black puddings with, then you're an honest butcher. God, only that it is a vast realm. Hold up. You let me out of that ice. Clearly, you've a nice, big...
Well, comrade, you certainly threw your weight around against those yappy hail nuggets. Talking snow. Pfft. I've never heard of a more ridiculous magic trick. Well, now, I suppose you've caught me with my proverbial britches on the floor. I never was one to know what to make of strange kinds of folks. Until now, it served me well to assume they were all some kind of source trick, and act accordingly. But the times are a-changin', aren't they, comrade? Old Medora's got to expand her worldview to include every manner of ridiculous talking ice cream sundae and such like.
Ho, ho, ho. My pet name speaks for itself, does it not? I just lied, don't you know? Love to dig right into plump little bellies with my bare, clawing hands and drag the innards out into the daylight. Oh, the deep, deep satisfaction. To hear the howls of my ravaged honeys, to see them strewn about all inside out, and me king. What a farce. A fool he is, for he is a jailer, and a jailer spends all his time in jail. A taker of freedom is he, and for what? Because some indulge in rather outlandish passions. Got a pig and bucket its blood to make black puddings with, then you're an honest butcher. Got a girl and do the same, then all of a sudden you're a maniac. Talk about your double standards. Only that it is a vast realm filled with soft, big-bellied creatures. And here was I just looking on, wanting. Hold up. You let me out of that ice. Clearly, you've a nice, big, sympathetic bone in that body of yours. What say you hand over that rift spell, and we'll all be on our...
And let's see how you like it to be disemboweled.
Suit yourself, little Shatterer. The time has come for you to be shattered. It's time to claw and drag.
Sometimes I just want to watch the world burn.
belly. Who are you to roam our land, disrupting the execution of justice? This prisoner has been tried, sentenced, and convicted in the grand courts of Heimerheim. Extremist scum! His disdain for the king's rule caused 2 gruesome deaths, called by the fiend the price of protest. Ahoka, yes Hermes, the earth elementals within Heimerheim deserve the same rights as we of the ice. He demanded that prison sentences given to those of the green and crown ought to be equally length to those given to ice elementals. Preposterous. Because the king would not acquiesce to the madman's insane demands, the fiend retaliated. He broke into the prison and set free 3 high-security inmates. Earth Elementals Hall in protest. One of those prisoners went on to murder an innocent god of ice. The other was severely ripped to pebbles by a mob that yearned of his whereabouts. Tell me, oh pompous bloodbag, does such a sower of death and
discord deserve freedom?
Whether he pursued justice is irrelevant. His actions caused 2 unlawful deaths. Luckily, there's no one to campaign for the rights of bloodstains in the snow.
Very well. Have it your way.
As if your opinion in such matters meant more than a single snowflake in this blizzard. Stand aside, sweatbag. We've got to undo...
No, we'll do as I say and there's an end to it.
Fancy that? An eternal sentence overturned by an ape. We'll snap your arms like twigs before we'll see that slime set free.
Trade my gauntlets for a hot drink.
demise!
Can it be? Trees, earth, ground. The smell of the wintry pines and soil. A whiff of fresh air after years of nothing but the glassy aroma of ice warming me in. I thank you kindly for freeing me, strange. Tell me, are you a proponent of the Earth Equality movement? I am a liberator and an equalizer in this tyrannical prison plane. One of the few willing to stand, rock solid, against King Boreas' many miscarriages of justice. The tyrant, master warden of this prison dimension of Fairy, exerted his power over we Earth elementals with an iron fist. For an equal crime, an icy thief or assailant would receive half the sentence of a mossy one. I protested. When it became clear that my demands fell on deaf ears, I took the law into my own hands and freed 3 of my kind from Boreas' prison chambers. For my crimes, I was encased in ice. Silenced then, but silent no more. Hyberheim, the eternal tundra, prison for the unwanted of the realm of Fairy. Here alone among the elemental planes, however, does Earth find prejudice at the hands of ice. Here alone do the elements rumble in unrest. Now, more than ever in Hyberheim, does this elemental unrest roil. This blizzard is most irregular, even among this eternal winter. And I feel within myself a tearing, a breaking of the normal sense of the Earth within me. Has Boreas slipped even further? Has his mind become somehow, That hoary pig proclaims to hold the scales of justice over all of Fairy. But he's rigged the damn thing in favor of his own. The other monarchs of the Fairy realm, true leaders, elementals all, are loath to interfere with their mad brother and his ice prison. They ship him their criminals, and he deals with them according to his own mercurial laws. I'll soon fly to my homeland, away from this frigid wasteland once and for all. Tell me, ask, that I'll soon fly to my... If that's so, then I must depart. I won't waste another moment languishing in an icy cage. Good luck, and farewell, friend.
Took notice of that work.
He'll hear you.
It's not but a bit of bark. I bet it doesn't even have ears.
Careful now. Jostle me again and my pet might jump to the defense of its... Oh, terribly sorry. I fashioned myself a wand. The damn wands are fragile as frost dough. And what does it look like? They've gone stupid. As for yourself, well... I'd hardly let my guard down long enough to check the time, to be quite honest.
Bless the goddess and all! But what in the goddess's hells are we doing here anymore? There's not a living...
Teeming, this particular tuber is hated first and foremost among all others. He has been remembered in song and in story as the foulest abomination the womb of Heimerheim ever has or will. The Scarmantiger was a guard of the royal treasure before the days of our great Boreas. And he set his cursed eye upon the winter ring of the king, the symbol of his majesty's power. The fiend broke his oath of fealty to the crown and kingdom and stole into the room, snatching the ring and fleeing into the night. The king blamed his long-time rival for the theft, and a terrible war ensued. A war that decimated Heimerheim in landscape, population, and spirit. Meanwhile, the rot-hearted Anziger hid his crime and allowed the war to rage in the name of saving his own slimy yellow belly. When the truth came out at last, it was too late to reverse what damage had been done. But not too late to enact the highest price upon the Archfiend's head, an eternity of ice.
Sounds like the sort of useful coward I'd like to have owe us a favour.
Fancy that! An eternal...
I'm overheating here.
I feel like a snowdrop on the first day of spring. Tell me, friend of mine, do I look as pretty as a winter flower? Wait, before you answer, I believe fangs are. You're lucky to see more hide from those abominable snowmen. Oh, that little commotion. I never paid it never mind myself. A lot of smoke over an incy fire. What was King Scardy thinking, starting such a hubbub over a teeny little ring? Speaking of whom, is he still mad? Well, I've got to admit, it's quite a bit more blizzardy around here than I remember. But there seem to be significantly fewer bloody battlefields strewn about. Come to think of it, I reckon things do feel a little funny. I kind of feel like bashing in a fire elemental's thick skull while his wife and children watch. Is that normal? Oh, only everything. All fine. Plenty of chests bursting with gold and relics in there. But the real treasure is hidden away from unworthy eyes. If they stuck a winter ring back where I stand, I can tell you exactly how I live that. You'll need one of King Skadi's talismans. Each of us royal guards were once granted one, but they were all destroyed after my escapade. All but one. Otherwise, the ring would remain inaccessible. Where that talisman is hidden now, though, I cannot say. But surely you inquisitive types can sniff. Once you have, make sure you're very close to it and head for the treasure. Stand proud, right smack dab in the middle, where you can see hills of gold stretching beneath your very feet. Be patient. Ring yours to grab. If you're satisfied, I'll make haste out of him. The last thing I need is another set of fat snowmen on my train. Then I reckon this is farewell. Thanks for busting me out of that icicle, by the by. I'd say I owe you one, but I haven't got plans to run into you.
I hope your quest fares well, dear hunter.
Why, I see Master Zigzax has upgraded from his shabby little hut at the edge of the hour, from the fairy dimension to the, space-time weaver hunter imp one. What do you call this place again? Ha! Is that so? It seems I have my share to learn about the magical world yet. The end of time. Well, suddenly your association with Master Zigzax makes sense. Well, I must say, it's no small relief to find myself in a safe haven among such allies. I believe the answer to that begins centuries ago, when your order was still cutting down so-called dark magicians by the dozen. Ours was a family of born sorcerers, you see. It was in our blood to interact with Source. But our parents were determined to curb the power within us. Still, their meekness wouldn't save them from the Source Hunters. I am, but there is more to our kind than they teach at your academy. Source isn't only blood and madness. It's like lightning, an exquisite current of great power. We sorcerers are like metal steeples. Source is drawn to us and it flows through us. But what so many fail to understand is that Source can be controlled. The power-drunk through history have abused it, and all the world's sorcerers have borne terrible consequence. Tell me, Source Hunter, in all your hours studying the arcane arts, did your great masters ever suggest that perhaps not all sorcerers were evil? Did you ever hear, even once, that some of us were weak and gentle, That we could be simple forest folk healing the sick and frozen each winter. No. I doubt also that they'd mention that one day this hunt of yours would birth a broken soul powerful enough to inch all of Rivellon toward oblivion. No. No, that would be going too far, and eschewing my own responsibility. I believe Leandra's long fall down did begin at the hands of some of your own order, but it was I who sparked all of this. They came on a quiet morning. My mother was wild with fright and commanded me to hide myself and Leandra outside, among the trees. Even at that young age, we knew not to question her. We climbed high into the branches of a nearby tree, and before we could look away, our parents were cut down without ceremony before our door. The source hunters sauntered away, wiping their blades with pride. 2 more sorcerers dead, a job well done. From that moment on, everything was different. As we trembled in that tree, our fear and our desperation were so potent that the magic within us began to weave together. Our souls became forged together, our bond unbreakable. We would survive, thrive even, within those woods, never speaking to outsiders. Our soul forge meant that if one of us were to die, the other would instantly perish too. We kept one another close. Leandra's capacity was enormous. Source didn't frighten her, and she delved into that dark well with terrible regularity. I did my best to guide her, but she fast outgrew my admonitions. My sister and I were mired in a solitary existence, witches among the trees when Zandalore came. Leandra especially couldn't leave him be. He was a feast of information, and she wouldn't rest until she'd absorbed every bit of knowledge he offered. Their days were spent on charms, hexes, and the like. At night, Leandra would wander off to practice what she'd learned, and Zandalore and I would settle into our quiet tasks, side by side. We were a content trio, the 3 of us, but base impulse would undo us. As you know, Leandra and I were soul-forged. This offered us a window into one another's souls. I knew Leandra had developed feelings for Zandalore, and she knew I had too, but it was me to whom he confessed his love. Those quiet evenings together had captured his heart, as they had mine. Her heart broke the moment we announced our new attachment, and I felt the pain of it as sharply as a knife. She fled, without a word, and I didn't see her for 2 terrible years. My connection to her, our soul forge, grew weaker. It was as though some third entity, a parasite, were atop our souls, sucking the strength from it day by day. I believe that our soul forge has been damaged. By what? I can only guess. The fraying of the bond between us has left Leandra adrift in a well of sorrow she truly believes will never end. What she needs is a hand. My hand, out of this abyss. If our soul forge is repaired, I am certain she'll cease blazing this path of destruction. I cannot condone the terrible things she's done, but I can seek to understand them. With our soul forge in such tatters, I believe Leandra is adrift in the not at all inconsiderable sorrows of our lives. What's more, I sense a terrible force bearing down upon the bond between us. It is hungry, and it consumes ever more of Leandra's mind and soul. I cannot say exactly what this force might be, but I'm certain it's both driving me out and driving Leandra on. If I could only repair the forge, I'm certain she'd put a stop to this madness. We've a single order of business first and foremost. Leandra is gathering an army, and I fear we'll have to get through it if we wish to find her. But first, we must learn more about Leandra's plans. How many of these so-called Immaculates does she have in her palm, and to what end is she directing them? Your journey must begin in the Lacula mines, where she has been accumulating materials and manpower for a purpose as yet unknown. The way will be dangerous. Her allies are growing more powerful and numerous by the minute. But we must discover exactly what Leandra is planning, and why. A soul forge comes with its own benefits, Source Hunter. Though our connection has weakened, I still see the occasional vision of Leandra's doings, the pangs of her deepest felt emotions, and flashes of her triumphs. One vision. I had thought it was only a nightmare, but now I see it was something much worse. Leandra is collecting materials, precisely what, I cannot say, and is hard at work shaping them into something sinister. Her frustrations are rivaled only by her mirth. I can see she's growing closer and closer to achieving something dire. You must make your way deep into the mines to see exactly what she's planning. The way may be treacherous, but you must get inside. I fear my sister is doing something dreadful so far from the light of day.
How did you find Highbehind this time of year, dear Kara?
Cold, Master Imp. Very, very cold. What's the word, Source Hunter?
I hope your quest fares well, dear. By all means. But certainly. What would you like, and what might those be? Ah, yes, that was a small fib on my part, I'm afraid. Zandalore is known as the Keeper of the Source, after all. And I didn't know how Source Hunters would react to my association with such a colorful character.
Good to see you on the shelter plane. A home away, like the imp said to the ballista operator. Shoot! Quite a card, isn't she? I never know whether that one's going to offer a striking commentary on my efforts to record the Great Dwarven Wars, or a potion meant to turn my tongue blue for a week. She and I have run in the same sort of magical circles for, well, not as long as I can remember, but close to it. Once in a century or so, I'll pop in while she's experimenting with a particularly interesting charm, and we'll share a mug of glow wine and a discussion about this and that. Quite glad you brought her here, I am. When Ikara's here, there's nothing to fear. That's what she always tells me, anyhow. Indeed I can. The tapestry has revealed all. Saucy stuff, I can tell you that. But of course, you're professionals and interested in the dry facts only, not the smutty details. Suffice to say that though Zandalore and Ikara were an item, the wizard gave in to his baser instincts when her sister Leandra came a-wooing. Only, what truly interested her was not his body, but his mind and the secrets of the source buried therein. Jake was there too, waiting in the shadows to ascertain that between the two of them, they'd be able to subdue the wizard should he become unruly. No more. You see, he is instrumental to her plans. But when Zandalore became suspicious, she didn't hesitate to play the part of Black Widow, ready to kill after copulation, ready to break her sister's heart twice over. Ah, Leandra, Imp Slayer, Blood Craver, Void Seeker. All-round lovely lass, ain't she? Indeed I can, suffice only... No more. Ah, Leandra. Imps, it shall be my pleasure. Most certainly. Like you, she is a mystery. But she seems to know, like the imp said to the ballista operator, shoot, of all the wicked things, the one substance that can stand in the way of the void, and she's turning it into vessels of blood. You'll have to redouble your efforts, my friend. You'll have to find more starstones before she does, and forestall her insidious distortions.
How might I serve our mission? Ask, and I shall answer. If I can. Threads I weave and tales I see. All will I tell. Leandra. She desires to be Mother of the Void, but you have the power to undo her born-in-blood litter. Though they be baptized in blood, you can cleanse the Starstones still, and use them to thwart their grim queen.